Imagine strolling down a cozy autumn street and spotting the sweetest little Pumpkin Pie Café. Warm light glowing, pumpkins on the doorstep, and golden accents that sparkle like falling leaves. In this tutorial, I'll show you step by step how to paint this whimsical autumn shop, and we'll add a touch of magic with metallic watercolors to make it shine. Let's bring this charming Pumpkin Pie Cafe to life together. Hello everyone, today we're going to be drawing and painting a pumpkin pie cafe for the autumn season that is coming up. And we're going to start with a line, and my drawing is going to be darker than yours, so if you can do a lighter sketch than mine, that would be ideal, especially if you don't want your pencil lines to show up after you watercolor them. Or you can ink and erase your lines and then watercolor, so it's up to you. I'm going to draw a square here, right there, well, a rectangle, and we're going to have an awning, so we will have that come out there. And sometimes this turns out an even number and sometimes an odd. If you want your stripes to sort of look properly, you'll want an odd number, but I don't count. So we're going to see how this is going to turn out. And by that, I mean when we alternate colors on the awning. So if I were to do orange, white, orange, white, orange, white, orange, white, orange, white, orange, white, orange. So that actually turned out. But if I had had one less, then there'll be a white one there instead of an orange. So it's just maybe something you want to keep in mind. I'm going to erase my, my little pencil line there. And going to draw a few series of lines here for the sign, and do that. And I want to have, I know I didn't quite space this properly. I wanted enough space at the top here, so if I wanted to frame this, it wouldn't be, the painting wouldn't be going off the edge here, but I am going to just put a little pumpkin here and another small pumpkin here and another small pumpkin here because I wanted that in my drawing. So we're going to do a wrought iron railing up here. So I do recommend that you leave more space up here. So I should have started this slightly lower. I guess I should always start it lower than higher. So that's just something to keep note of in the future. Right. So we've got our awning in. We're going to put in a window and our door right here. And we'll put in a little step. I want a potted plant over here. And we're just going to do something like that. And I'm going to alternate like that. Do the leaves. And some, just some circles here. Like that. And next, I want a pumpkin here next to the door. And I kind of want a curly end on it like that. And we'll put, I want it to sit on the pavement. So I'm going to have it come slightly below that line. Like that. And we'll do another one next to it, and then we'll do one over here. So okay, this one can come in front of that one. And do one here. Quite as big as I wanted it to be. And make that one go out like that. Okay, so some of these lines, I'm going to erase them a little bit there so they won't show up as dark. I'm going to put another, I know why I did this now, because in my drawing I have sort of like I'm not even sure what you would call this. It wouldn't be cobblestone, but it would be more of a patio series of sidewalk there. So that's why I did that with the line up higher earlier. So, okay, and put that in. Put a little block down there. We will put in the door handle and the door window. And we'll just put an indication of some lines there for reflection of the glass, and we'll just put another little window up there. We're going to put a lantern on the side of the building here. Like that. And our window needs a pane of glass. And I actually want to make sure that I get this in first, so I'm going to draw it in. And I want that to say cafe. And I want this to go like that. And all right. We're going to do a pumpkin in the window also, like that. And what else do we need to do? I think that's everything I have in my sketch. Now at this point you could write Pumpkin Pie Cafe in, or you can do that afterwards. I'm going to do that afterwards, I think. But maybe not, because I might forget. So I'm actually going to write that in. Pie Cafe, like that. We're going to paint this in some autumn colors, and I'm also going to be using some metallic paints that I bought from CSY Art Gallery. This is handmade watercolor, and I bought the Fairy Tale metallic set from them. It cost me about $17 Canadian. It was on sale. Now the thing with metallic watercolors is you want to lay down a layer of water on top of it before you're going to be using these, so that way it has a chance to do what it needs to do before you actually mix your metallic onto your brush. So while I have that there, I'm going to let that sit, and then when we need it, it'll be ready for us to use. So I use 3 primary colors, permanent red, lemon yellow, and cobalt blue. Today we're going to be primarily using the permanent red and the lemon yellow. I already have some metallics from my previous painting down here, so I may actually just sort of dip into those as well, which is something that you can do once they're dry on your watercolor palette. You can reactivate it with some water, and you're good to go. This is some Pearl X Antique Copper, which is a powder, and I've added water to it to make the metallic color. And we may actually be dipping into that as well. I just wanted to have it pre-mixed on my palette before we started the video. So I'm going to make up some orange. This was some brown from a previous video, but I'm just gonna use that because the rest of my palette is already spoken for, sort of, to a degree. So I'm gonna make up a fair amount of orange. Now, if you already have a pre-mixed orange, by all means, go ahead and use that. I just kind of want to show you how to mix colors if you only have, say, the 3 primary colors. Say if you have purchased some expensive watercolors and like Daniel Smith or Winsor and Newton, and you could only afford 3 colors, and you get the 3 primary colors. And from those, you can mix any other color that you might want. So that is a tip if you can't afford, and I know a good chunk of us can't afford the expensive watercolors, then that's sort of a way to get by that. If you can spring for some professional colors, you get 3 primaries, and from there you can mix all the other colors. So a lot of people buy the pre-mixed colors just for convenience sake, or maybe they don't know the color theory on how to mix colors, but it does come in handy for sure. So let's start with a light wash of that color that we just made up. I'm going to put some clean water on my brush, and we're going to just lay down. I think our main base color is going to be that color. So everything that's going to be a variation of an orange, we're going to do this. Now with the awning, which I just sort of invaded there, we're going to do our alternate orange, white, orange, white, orange, white stripes. So we're going to put those in. And at the moment, it does look like it's just yellow, but we're going to be adding our color to this water in a second. Okay, and then we'll do the rest of the building here, and might as well just go over these pumpkins. You can do the lamp, so that can be a glow. And I'm gonna add, now I'm using 100% Meaden acid-free cold press watercolor paper, 300 GSM. And it's drying much quicker than the paper that I usually use, which is either the Ohuhu or the Canson XL watercolor paper. And those I found didn't dry out quite as quickly as this one is. So I'm going to just put on another layer of water here over top so I can get that wet on wet wash effect that I want. Okay, and we'll add a little bit more to the stripes. Okay, now we're gonna add this orange here, and you can even just drop it in and see how that works for you. And you don't have to do the whole top here because that will spread out like so. And maybe, you know, we maybe want a lighter variation of colors within our painting. So I'm going to let that do its job there. And drop this in. And even on the stripes here, if you want a sort of a band of lighter, say it looks like the sunlight is shining on that to make it shiny, you can just do it at the top and the bottom here, and then you'll get that lighter band of a lighter color right through. And you know what, maybe we will do that And so to lift this color out, you usually use a paper towel, but I don't have any in my bunkie at the moment. So I'm just gonna do that. And with an old face cloth that I use specifically for watercolors. And we're just gonna drop some more of our orange in there. So we do have that variation that we'll see how that looks once it's dry. And now we'll put some in on the walls. Again, you can let this, you don't have to fill up all your wall color if you want a variety of oranges for like texture in there. Now you can go around your frames, door frames. Oh, and I missed that actually. So we'll make that one darker. And our window frames with the darker color. And that one I didn't do wet on wet, but it's just as well. So I'm doing a dry brush here, so that way the frame will actually stay put. And then we'll do some of the pumpkin, and we can leave one side of it a little lighter, so it looks like there's some sunlight on it. And we're gonna need to make up a little bit more of our orange, and making a bit of a darker orange so it'll have more red in it. And then we're just gonna drop that in to some of this and see how that goes. So that'll be our orange or pumpkin color. We'll do the top here, and you can just dab your brush in. And this will actually, I think this will create a nice effect when it's dry for maybe what we're interested here in the final result. And you can always leave some of your edges white here. So it looks like there's light on the building. So we'll put some of this underneath here, under our window. And then we want our orange on the pumpkins to make them pop more. And maybe a little bit towards the bottom, but not a whole lot, just a little bit to indicate that that building is the same color. And our door, we will do darker. And so the sunlight is getting into my bunkie from straight ahead. So this is going to be starting to go on my painting, and it'll dry it out quicker maybe than I anticipated. So I'm just going to make our door a little darker here, along with the window frame. This part here, door frame, and a little bit more here. Okay, and we need to do the pumpkin in the window. And you know what? I might do the top of the lantern, that color, just to have it for fun. We're going to do the leaves a little bit darker here. A darker orange. And I'm going to dip my brush in the water and then tap that off a bit. And yeah, that doesn't look too much different than what we already were using, but I think we're going to go over this plant with the metallics, and we'll see how that goes. Our pot, we're going to do, want to do that kind of a brown color. And so what we'll do is we'll take some of our orange here, and we're going to add it to our blue on the palette. And that will make brown. Orange and blue will make a brown. And if you want that darker, you can add a little bit more blue to it and you'll get a darker brown. And then I'm going to add water to my brush, and we're just going to leave a little bit of white on the side there for the sunlight. And I'm going to wipe my brush off, and I'm going to add some of this directly to the side here so it's a little darker on that side. I'll shove that paint over there, dry my brush, and do that. And then we'll come back and add some more brown to that. I want to do a little bit of a grayish blue sidewalk. So we're going to add blue to that brown. And we've got our sidewalk color. We're going to dip our brush in the water. And so I'm just going to move my paint here for a second. We're going to, oh, that's a bit of my eraser. Lay down some of the water on here first. And then we're going to add our blue. And we're going to want to add a little bit more blue under the pumpkins to create a shadow in a second after this dries mostly. We'll come back to that. So we're going to need that blue color again to add the shadow for underneath the pot and underneath the pumpkins on the sidewalk. All right, and next, I think we need to add a little bit of a lighter blue shade for the windows. And so I'm just going to add a bit of blue to that sidewalk color we have. And then I'm going to add some plain water to our windows. And we're going to drop in some of that blue. So under there. And we'll do here in our main window. And I'm going to leave that part white that says that the pumpkin is on, because I kind of want to look like there's a sign there or something. Okay, so we're just going to drop in some of that blue here to make a window indication, like so. It can be a little darker under the awning for the shadow, like that. And I just do a very light wash here. And you can even leave some of the white in there as well. But I'm going to come back in with my paint pen, and we're going to add some white streaks there. So this is almost dry on me now, so I'm going to add a bit of a shadow there. And while this sidewalk is still wet, I'm going to add some of that darker blue, because I want it to be more of a soft effect than a harsh shadow. Okay, so I'm adding that there, and we're going to add it under our pumpkins. And this light's coming from this way, so the more dark is going to be on this side rather than over here. Some of that's going to blend into the pumpkins from the bottom, and that is quite all right, because that will be like the reflected shadow on the pumpkin. Okay, so we're going to put that in there, and that is going to blend into the rest, but I'm just going to smudge it a bit with my finger. I'm going to put in, just add a little bit here to that light, and I want to add a little bit up here and just smudge that in a little. Okay. And I think we'll add a little bit under here for a shadow. So that can go onto the woodwork as well. And like that. Okay. And that'll just be like a soft shadow. Okay, so we're gonna let that dry, and then we're gonna come back with our metallic watercolor. So the main part of our painting is dry, and we're gonna come back in with our metallic watercolors. I'm not going to add a whole bunch to the painting. I don't want it to be overwhelmingly metallic. I just want an indication of some shimmer and some sparkle. So the first thing I think I'm going to do is the plant over here. And I think I'll add some of the desert bronze to it. And I'll add some of the Tibet shimmy gold to the building, and maybe a bit more of the bronze to the pumpkins. I'm not quite sure how I want those to go. But in the meantime, the water on top of the metallics has had a chance to absorb into the actual pigment, and now that it will be more concentrated on my brush, but I still have a little bit too much. So I'm going to, just because I want to be able to, I don't want to waste this. So I'm going to dab that onto my palette so I can come back and use that another time. And I can even just use it for the rest of the painting here that I wanted to use it for. So let's add some to the leaves. And now it's going to change the color to the metallic color, but that's okay because I didn't want these leaves to be orange anyhow. And we will add it to the dots here. We'll add a little bit to the flower pot as well. Now that's a little bit too much, so I'm going to rinse my brush, dry it off, and I'm going to spread that over so that way it's not so overwhelmingly that color. We'll add a little bit more to the edge here. Okay, so that's good. And then I think I will add a little bit of that to the pumpkins, at least on the shadow part of it here. Do a little bit there. And then we'll add a little bit of the gold onto the other side. So I'm just going to sort of smudge this in like that. And I'll just dip into what I already have on my palette. And want to be too dark with that, but I do want it to be noticeable as well. And I do want, you know, that side of the pumpkin to be darker. Okay, so that's good. And we'll do the same up here. And these will stand out better once we have our ink down. And then we'll do a little bit on the one in the window there. Okay, so I want to smudge that one out a little bit more. There we go. And maybe a little bit on the lantern here in the bottom part of it. There. Okay, and then we're going to add some of the gold. So I'm going to dip into the Tibet shimmy gold, and I'm going to do the same thing because now this is very, very pigmented. So I'm going to do the same thing that I did here and just add that to my palette so I can use that in a different painting or later so I don't waste it. And then we're going to add some to the light side of the pumpkin, like that. And you can even add a little bit to say where you want your sign to be. Here. There. I'm gonna wet my brush, dip into what I have on my palette, And then I'm going to add some to the side of the building. And we will dab that in. Maybe a touch on the leaves on the highlight side and on the pot. And also on these pumpkins at the bottom. Maybe on the door, on the base. And yeah, how about we make that lantern glow gold? And some there. I have a bit too much on the door, so I'm just going to lift that off by wetting my brush and spread that down a little bit and lift it off. There, like that. And I think that's going to be all the metallic that I'm going to lay down. I'll show this once I'll move it into the sun so you can actually see this sparkle. But am I missing anything here? You know what? We can do the tops. We can do the tops with the darker glitter, the deep bronze. There we go. Okay, that's good. We're gonna let that dry and then we're gonna come back with our ink. So our paint, metallic paint is dry and now we're going to ink. I'm going to be using a Uniball Vision Needle 0.5 millimeter pen, waterproof, but you could also use a Staedtler pigment liner, which is also waterproof. This is size 0.8. And or you could use a Micron fine liner as well. It has archival ink. And for waterproof and fade-proof fine lines, this is a 1.0 millimeter. It's the graphic one, so it has a different tip on it. But this one is a sepia brown tone, which would be nice for autumn watercolors if you are able to get a hold of this. I just picked it up at my local art store, and I really like the lines that this one gives. But today I'm going to use my Uniball Vision needle, and I'm going to start from left to right so I don't smudge my my lines, because they can still smudge after you put them down if you drag your hand through it right away. Okay, so if you want looser lines, hold it towards the back of your pen. If you want more control, you hold it to the front. And I usually hold around the middle or the back so you guys can actually see what I'm doing here. And so let me know in the comments below if any of you have ever actually used metallic watercolors before. If you have, let me know what brand you use and if you're happy with them. Or if you're not happy with them, let me know if there's any pros or cons to your using them. And I read all of my comments, and I do enjoy your feedback. So I'm also only just getting into the metallic watercolor, which will be trending in 2026. So I thought, well, let's get a start on this now and see how that goes. So let's just do the pumpkins up here. I'm just filling in the stems with black, but you could have done that with a green if you want to. I'm putting little curly cues on the top just for a more whimsical effect. So I'm going to write in Pumpkin Pie Café because I can still see my pencil lines here. Cafe. There we go. And we'll draw our line across here. And you'll notice once we put the black in, it really just ties it all together. And we did get that sort of a band of light here across those stripes. So that was a nice, nice effect to be able to achieve. Okay, I'll just draw in my stripes first, and then we'll do the curved part of them. Don't want to draw through my pumpkin there. So let me know also in the comments how this turned out for you. Whether you're looking forward to painting it. And if you're going to be using it for anything like for a gift, or maybe could even be a Thanksgiving card. I know in the States, the Thanksgiving is a little later in November. Here in Canada, we have it in October, the second week of October. And I believe it's closer to the end of November for the United States, after Black Friday. Let me also know if there's any other kind of paintings that you want me to perhaps film a video for. After these autumn ones, I'm going to be focusing on some Halloween. So if you have a particular Halloween theme you want me to draw, let me know. I will, of course, be doing a whimsical haunted house. But maybe I will do a few other things as well that aren't necessarily houses. So let me know if that might be something you're interested in. I know some of my whimsical landscapes that I just did for summer aren't quite as popular as my whimsical houses. So any feedback that I can get from you is much appreciated. All right, so let's do the step here. And we'll do the pumpkins on the bottom. So this would probably be a good Halloween one to do also if you wanted. Okay. Halloween's one of my favorite times of the year. Autumn and Halloween are my favorites. It's cooler weather. Sunny. Crisp days. More comfortable sleeping weather too. Okay, so we're winding down our inking here. And I'll be able to show you in the sunlight how this turned out exactly. So let me know if you like metallic watercolors, if you like the effect they give, if you want to see more of tutorials about metallics. I did look it up on the internet, and it will be quite popular for 2026. So I thought I would jump on the bandwagon now and see how that goes. Now, you can go back in here and add a little bit more of a shadow underneath. I think I missed that step. We were going to do another layer of that, so we do a little bit of blue here. And we will just put that here underneath the pumpkins to just make them sort of sit on the pavement. I'm gonna do a little bit there for that shadow. A little bit here on that side. And that way it looks like they're actually sitting on the pavement like that. And a little shadow of them casting onto the sidewalk. And then you could also add a little bit more under here. If you want your shadow to be, oh, I'm just going all over the place here, but that's okay. If you want your windows to be a little darker, you can do that. And under there, just to add more contrast to your painting. And we'll add a little bit of a shadow behind the pumpkin here, cast onto the wall. A little bit there, a little bit on the bottom there, and a little bit here. Okay, so normally I'll come in with my white highlighter and my white Posca paint pen and add some white to the edges and such here. And I might just do a little bit of a indication there. I like to have it on my steps and bit on the sidewalk, bit on the door frame, just to make it pop a little bit more. And, oops. And just sort of some texture. And up here, can do a bit of a dab on top of those, a bit on the side. And yeah, I think that's going to be about it. You can always add a little bit here. Just if you feel like it needs just a little bit more of something. Okay, now I'm going to move this over to the sunlight over here, and you can see how this turned out. With that, just bring this over here. Okay, so I'll get rid of that on the bottom. So we got some of our shimmer here and on our plant and on the sign up here on our pumpkins. So it really shows up in the sunlight. But again, I didn't want to do overwhelmingly a lot of glitter metallic paint on here, watercolor paint, but just an indication to get that extra whimsical effect. So I'll just show you what this looks like in non-sunny conditions. So there's more than enough metallic paint on there. So it just adds that extra dimension of whimsy. So let me know if you enjoyed this painting. Let me know how it turned out for you, and if you'd like to see more metallic watercolor in the future. Drop a comment in the comments section. I will wish you a world of whimsy, and take care. Bye for now.